This video is going to take you through the steps of creating your digital head explosion collage based on a few of these kind of artwork that pieces of artwork that we've been looking at in class. And you can just kind of get the idea here where the main picture is the base basically, and then on top we're going to cut off the head, we're going to place images in, we're going to cut those images out, start to get the idea there. Here are some finished pieces from some students in the past here. You can take a look. And you'll notice that the main face is the one that's cut out, and then on top of that you have a number of images that have been cut out and placed inside along with the background, and really this is what we're trying to accomplish. We're going to go through the steps now with this. So first thing is going to be to get a folder worth of images. Now these images, you can see I have a few different folders here, but the one that you're going to really concentrate on is creating a new folder, and in that folder going and getting a few different images. Now you see I have a splatter here to use as an effect. I have some cutouts of different things that relate to the same person, in this case Steve Jobs. This particular image had nothing to do with it, so forget that one. But the rest of them, articles about him, some textures for backgrounds, some magazine covers, things about Apple, the logos, different stores, iPads, iPods, old computers, new computers, anything that had to do with him, stories where he's been on the cover of magazines, the old computer, anything that you can think of that would relate to the person that you've chosen, or yourself if you're choosing yourself for this project. You need to organize in a folder. I would start with at least about 15 to 20 different images that you want to get going before you start. Okay, from there, you're going to open up Photoshop. You're going to go to File and New. The size of this file, make sure it's in inches. At the top, put your name and put the word collage. For the size, we're going to go with 11 by 17, 300 for the resolution, RGB for the color mode, transparent for the background, and hit OK. Just to be sure we're all in the same spot, let's go to Essentials in the top corner and go down to Reset Essentials. Once you've done that, now you're going to go into that folder that you've put in your folder, and you're going to find the image that you want as the main image where things are going to be popping out of the head. So I'm going to actually use this one here. Right click, open with Photoshop. We've gone over in class how to find the biggest images possible. The internet here is not working so great right now, but you type in the name of the person that you want. Yeah, we're getting this right now, so forget that. But you type it in and find the biggest images possible. You make sure that they're large, like this one's 333 KB, you need large ones. All right, I'm going to go on with the rest of the project. If you have a problem with that, let me know. We need to now cut this out using the tools that we've gone over in class. So far, we've gone over the rectangle tool, we've gone over the lasso, polygonal lasso, magnetic lasso, we've also done the quick select and the magic wand tool. We've also done the new select and mask button at the top. So any which way you'd like to try to cut this out, that's what you need to do first. So I would try magic wand tool. I would click on the outside edge, so I'm getting all of the white that surrounds him here. You'll notice that it's still picking up this and still picking up a little bit of this. Here's what happens. If I select the white, I take the move tool now, and I try to drag this over, it's going to drag over the white. That's not what I want. I want him instead. So I'm going to undo from over here, go back to this one, and what I would need to do is just a simple select inverse. Now that I've done inverse, it's grabbing him. Now it's also grabbing some of these, so watch what happens. As I drag it over with the move tool, it brings it over, but there's a couple of little things here. Obviously, there's this. There's a little black line. I don't know how well you can see it there. So there's a few things we need to get rid of. But at least this one now we can get rid of. This one is now on the new page, right? So you can grab any tool you want, lasso, polygano, anything you want, and create a shape around the pieces you want to get rid of. And then hit delete. All right, if there's any other pieces, looks like there's like a line right here. Just going around the edge, I just kind of see like a thin line. I don't know if you see it on your screen. Right about there. So that looks good. When I do Command 0 now, you can see it from far away. We're going to take the move tool at the top. We're going to move this down a little bit to the bottom corner. Now I need to make this much larger to fill up the page. So just like all your last projects, we've been using Free Transform. Edit, Free Transform. Hold Shift, pull from the top right corner. I can even go a little further like that depending on how big you want yours to be. I'm going to put mine right about there. And then I'm going to hit the checkbox or hit Enter on my keyboard to OK it. So before we start editing, you can see the line just showed up right there. I got to get rid of that line too. I can use any of the tools. Rectangular marquee tool, just make a line around it. Delete. Command D to get rid of the marching ants. All right, so we want to cut the head off a little bit, the top of the head, to look like things are popping out. The easiest one is to just use the rectangular marquee tool. Make sure that the feathering is 0, new selection. All you do is simply click and drag like that. Then right click, layer via cut. It's going to cut the head. You see it? It's on its own layer now. It's on layer 2 right here. I'll pull it over so you can see. If I hide it, you see it disappears. So what you would do at that point is just go to Edit and Free Transform. Take this dot that's in the middle. You can see that dot right there. If you move it to the corner, that's where it will turn from now. So if I go past here and I just hit turn and I click and I pull, it's going to, it creates the axis from that bottom right corner, and then I can kind of pull and move it around. All right, at that point you're good to go. The only other option for you here, if I just go back one step and Command D, instead of using the rectangular marquee tool, you could use a different tool like a lasso or a polygono or whatever, and just kind of do like a interesting kind of a cutout like this, for example. You know, almost like the head's being chopped off in a very, you know, choppy or pointy way. I could use a regular lasso and make it soft, or, you know, smooth around the edges. So I make the same exact steps. Right click, layer via cut. Now it's on its own layer. Do Command T. Pull it to the corner, or pull it to this corner, and pull. Either way, it totally works. It's fine. Hit the checkbox up top or hit Enter on your keyboard. And then from there, you're going to be bringing in other images and making them look like they're popping out of your head. So you have to go back to your folder, find the next piece that you want for your work. So for example, the Apple logo. So if I go to, or even one of these old ones or whatever, open everything with Photoshop one at a time. Once it opens up, pull the tabs apart. Let's zoom out a little bit and see. All right, so depending on which one you want in here, let's just say I want the this old iPhone. I could start with the rectangular marquee tool like we did in class on our practice. Click and drag over this. Move it over a little bit. There we go. I could now right-click, layer via cut. You'll notice that it put it on its own layer in this document, but then I could take that new layer now, this one. I could click, drag, and drop the layer right onto the new document. So as you come in here, take the move tool, move it around. You'll notice if I zoom in on it that it has white around the edges of it. How do we get rid of the white? Use one of your selection tools that we learned in class. Quick select, magic wand. I'll just try magic wand on this one. I'm going to click on the white. See, it did a pretty nice job of getting most of it. I'm going to hit delete. Then I'll do Command D to get rid of the dots. There's still some pieces down here. There might be a few more somewhere else. I really only see this one right now. So I'm going to take a different tool, rectangular marquee tool. Click and drag. I'm going to kind of move this selection up a little bit, and then I'm going to hit delete. Nice and clean. So at that point, take the move tool. Oops. By accident here, you'll notice that I put it on the same layer as layer 2, so I have to undo that for a moment. There we go. What you want to do now, there we go. It's separate. I don't know, I hit the wrong button by accident. Layer 3 here is the iPhone, right? So you take it, you position it where you want, you do edit, free transform, you can rotate it, resize it, put it wherever you'd like, hit OK, and then take layer 3 and put it underneath the whole thing. And you see it looks like it's in his head now, like it's popping out of his head. So you're going to do that for as many pieces as you possibly can. Towards the end of the project, you will be throwing some backgrounds on this. So for example here, if I go to the sky, I can open up the sky image that I put in that same folder, pull it apart, take the move tool, move it in. Once it's in there, bring it to the back so it's behind everything else, bring it to the bottom of the layer stack. Command T again, hold Shift, I'm holding Shift and Option right now. I kind of resize that so it fills up the page. Maybe I'll go a little bit larger. Alright, that looks pretty good. Remember, the higher the quality of the image, the better everything's going to look. There are some other pieces in here that you might have seen me grab, like paint splatters. You might even find, you know, different things. I can't look online right now because it's not functioning properly, but you can look up other images like this. You know, you can take these kind of ink splatters and see how they look as a part of your work. You know, depending on what kind of, they can be decoration almost. They can come out in front. You can double click them, give them colors. You know, choose whatever color you like on them. You can use smoke, fire, lightning, anything that you think is going to help with the background of this work is what you can use. Give you an example here. I have some smoke, I think, in one of these somewhere. There, like this. You could do like smoke, open that up, pull it apart, move it over, right? And then the same kind of thing here. You can cut away at stuff. Right. You could move it like here, resize it, put it in the background, drop it to the bottom, like here. Then you can play with blending modes for each of these layers. And as you play with the blending modes, you're going to get different looks for that background piece. You know, you can use the opacity and kind of change that around a little bit. So you're going to continue to add to this until you have filled up the head with all of the different images. You can see here we started with a few, put a city on it, kind of cut it out a little bit. Another example. All right. And that's really all you need to do. It's just a matter of cutting out images. I'm going to be looking closely at the images, making sure your cutouts are good, that you've done the first 2 steps of cutting out the head, that you've put a background, that you put some special effects, and it should all relate to the person.